For a while now, I've had these vivid dreams where I'm floating like a balloon through an abandoned mall. It often looks similar to the mall I would frequently visit with my folks as a kid, in a foreign country far away from the one I live in now. Other times I find myself sitting in the backseat of a car, driving past buildings and shops that seem so familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. Truly does feel like I'm in an alternate reality, but the truth is these places aren't made up by my imagination. I know I had visited these places at some point in my childhood, but as time passed, they were deleted from my consciousness. There's a feeling of peace that I experience during these dreams, in no delusion about any of it being real. Not because I've honed my skills at a level where I can control my dreams in any shape or form, because I know damn well this feels too good to be true. These dreams serve as a portal to my past, a past that is long gone now. None of these dreams stem from any big experiences or big memories, but it's somehow always the smallest ones that I've managed to linger on over the years, not wanting to let go, but constantly serving as a reminder that they once upon a time existed. A constant reminder that in this rat race that I find myself in these days, chasing big milestones, the ones that are only going to appear a handful amount of times in my lifespan, the ones you end up posting on LinkedIn, seeking the gratification from your peers that yes, I've made it in life. I realized I had taken the smaller, more mundane moments of my life for granted. The ones we never really pay attention to, because they don't seem that important. These are the exact same moments that end up revisiting me in my sleep. There's a sense of sadness that overwhelms me once I wake up from these dreams, knowing these dreams originate from memories of a time and place I can never really get back to, tightly locked away in my subconscious, and there's a chance I might never be able to break into the safe of memories again as time goes by, and that scares me a bit. A video game that beautifully captured this feeling of revisiting childhood memories for me is an indie horror tale developed by Hidden Fields titled Mundaun. Set in a secluded valley of the Swiss Alps, the protagonist of the game, Gurdine, finds himself traveling back to his childhood home in hopes of unraveling the mystery behind the sudden death of his grandfather. Mundaun feels as if you're strolling through a black and white art gallery, the artwork belonging to the creator of this beautiful yet oppressive world, Michel, who hand-penciled every character, scene, and environmental texture your eyes set upon. His use of graphite instills this dark, eerie atmosphere to the world around you. I spent a lot of my time wandering about the fields and pristine lakes, embracing this wicked world of floating beekeepers and strawmen. Whether it was taking a chairlift up and down a mountain, sitting on a bench sketching out the fields below me, or just indulging in the mere act of making myself a simple cup of coffee. No matter how trivial these actions may be, it all felt personal and memorable to me. But there was something more enriching that the game offers you than its eerie atmosphere and distinctive art style. It is the simple act of reliving memories. You could find yourself staring at a portrait in a room that whispers secrets from a frozen past. At times, even swallowed by an art piece into a different dimension of time, unable to do much but witness the horrors of the past. But there's one specific memory that stuck with me. It's not a big memory that one would believe would do much to solve the mysterious death of the grandfather, but rather a small one that I stumbled upon in a cave tucked under a waterfall. You take a seat in front of this board that instantly teleports you to the top of a ski slope, where you find yourself standing in front of this creepy little girl wanting you to race her, Florina, whom you've met earlier in the game that loves stalking you for some odd reason. There is a moment in the game when the protagonist is looking at a painting of people sledding down a slope and makes a mention of it being a special memory from his childhood. It's the idea of being stuck in time that makes this memory a special one for me. Unlike other memories in the game, this one feels a lot less grim for some reason. The atmosphere is a lot more calming. There are no immediate threats to deal with, no lives to save, no puzzles to solve, just a simple race with a beautiful Christmassy soundtrack in the background. And it doesn't really matter if the protagonist wins the race. It doesn't alter the outside reality. Perhaps this memory serves as a bridge connecting the protagonist to Florina. We even come across a sketch depicting her sledding down a slope in her bedroom. This could have been her special memory, hidden away in a cave that shields off the dark forces of Mundaun, serving as a reminder that something good did happen here once, and that this place wasn't always under the spell of such darkness. Echoes de la Memoria, or Echoes of Memory, is a series of monumental graffiti landscapes by a Venezuelan artist called Francisco Soto. Similar to the creator of Mundaun, Francisco's work too involves the use of graphite, wherein he starts with black and then proceeds to erase the image, such that even after an erasure, there is a memory surface. 90% of these drawings are taken up by empty space. The sky asserting its dominance in a calm and subtle manner. It's only when you start to look down you notice a cityscape, a mountain, or an expanse of water. Drawn and filtered through the lens of Francisco's memories, these were real places he had visited over the years. This series allowed him to pay homage to all the different cultures and places that had impacted him. To appreciate the beauty of these drawings, you really need to take a step back for a moment and absorb the emptiness of space in front of you. While slowly navigating to the bottom portion of the drawing, you stumble upon a special place that once meant something to the artist. These places depicted in the series aren't inspired from big experiences or big memories, but inspired by the smaller, more mundane moments that stuck with Francisco from his travels around the world. He calls these collateral images, the small fragmented memories within the inventory of images collected, the memories that refused to stop echoing in his mind long after he returned home. Here's the tricky part. The big experiences are always easier to talk about, but what about those smaller experiences, the ones that hold a soft spot in your heart, but you struggle to bring them to life with your words? That's why people like Soto use drawings as a medium to honor these smaller experiences. These drawings give these small memories a voice and story of their own. The world of Mundaun is heavily inspired by the myth and culture of the Alps. For the creator Michel, Mundaun is a tribute to the beautiful culture of the Swiss region of Grisons. The reason I wanted to talk about the artist Francisco Soto is because I believe he shares quite a few similarities with Michel. They both primarily use graphite in their drawings. Both embrace the beauty of a black and white world. Both embrace the smudges and eraser marks. But a major link between them both lies in paying homage to real-life locations they had visited from their travels around the world that left an impressionable imprint on their memories. A lot of what we see in Mundaun is drawn out from the so-called imprints on Michel's memories. His goal was to make this oppressive world feel alive and real. In a blog on PlayStation.com, Michel talks about how he would travel to these locations in the Alps 3 to 4 times a year as a means to brainstorm different ideas and in turn draw inspiration from buildings, objects, and signs that he found intriguing, most of which he would end up using as references for his game. Maybe these were Michel's version of Soto's collateral images. From the Devil's Bridge to the Little Lakes to the chapel, all of these beautiful spots we see in the game are inspired and drawn from real-life locations. In fact, before even thinking of making a game, Michel was heavily inspired by this real-life chapel in Katinga that he was convinced that he wanted to create a world around it. The chapel thus becoming the first thing he modeled for the game, and most significantly, the birthplace for all the ideas that would ultimately contribute to the creation of the world that would later be known to us as Mundaun. The chapel feels like a mini art gallery. Michel describes the chapel as a drawing inside of the game, and it really does feel that way when you observe all the beautiful paintings around the walls and ceilings. Momentarily, you find yourself lost, mesmerized by how such a tiny space with intricately beautiful drawings and patterns can evoke such a bone-chilling effect. A chapel, a place that's meant to be a safe haven for all, just isn't anymore. And you can see how this effect similarly translates to the outside world too. The environment is breathtaking. There's so much beauty to be absorbed. Yet, there's this underlying feeling of constantly being watched. Whether you're inside a physical structure or outside, you know you're not alone. In his blog on PlayStation.com, Michel mentions that over the course of years, he had collected over 50 odd photo books from thrift stores, that depicted the rural life in the Alps. These books consisted of black and white photos which acted as a portal to a whole different world. I would like to believe it was these photos that inspired him to carve out this black and white world for himself that may seem oppressive on the outside at first, but on the inside has its moments of light and beauty. Drawing inspiration from these old photos and scouting real-life locations really helped Michel create a believable world. A world that isn't completely fictitious, but brought to life on screen from once fragmented memories of the past. Mundaun was a 6-year-long passion project for Michel, that too a solo project. It was pretty much just him that worked on developing the game. It was only until near release where he had some additional help from writers, programmers, and sound designers. Even then, Michel had to still lead the way, steering them in the right direction. I believe this project to be such an impressive feat, bearing in mind that Michel hadn't drawn anything since he was a child. It was a skill he had to relearn and master. Also, this is the first video game he had ever worked on. Can you believe that? Mundaun was meant to be a comic book at first. The art of Mundaun is evidence of his mastery. Look, the outcome of the race never really matters. What matters is the act of reliving a childhood memory that brings you some form of relief. A nostalgic escape. I could have easily missed this cave, and I don't think it would have made much of an impact on the storyline as such. It's just a simple memory, just two people sledding down a hill. Nothing to dig deep into. There's no dramatic cutscene, barely any dialogues exchanged between the two, apart from Florina asking you if you want to race her. But isn't that the sad nature of all small memories? That most of them are never really grand enough to be presented on the main stage. These small, fragmented memories are often hidden away in a subconscious cave, forgotten for ages, only to breeze past your mind on a random day when triggered by one of our senses. Memories are complex. You question yourself if you're remembering a memory accurately or have you made it all up? It doesn't really matter to me. Real or not, it's the illusion of being stuck in time that does it for me. I think that's what makes those dreams from my childhood really special. I get to relive my childhood in some sense. Each time a bit different, yet somehow it's still the same places that I go back to. Just like in certain video games, where you don't really have the choice to pause and save a game whenever you want it. You just have to replay the level from the same checkpoint. I guess it's the same with these dreams. I don't really get to choose which memories I would like to replay. These small memories have just become certain checkpoints that I tend to play over and over again in my dreams. And I'm fine with its limitations. It's my portal to the past. And I know eventually these dreams will come to an end as I age, and new memories will replace the old. All I can try and do is cherish the present. I know how melodramatic this all sounds. It's easier said than done when life really doesn't seem to be going your way. But it's those little things, whether it's that morning cup of coffee in the garden with my dog, or taking that road trip with my folks. I need to start cherishing as many of these memories as I can, because you never know when these memories might revisit me in my dreams, on days when it seems hard to get out of bed, reminding me that life was once good when things were simple, and there's always hope that it can still be that way.